right, Shalom. First and foremost, before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Merchah HaKudash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, Great Millstone, Rule and Teach Well. Shalom, Barakim to you brothers and sisters out there. All right, this is the brother Malachi from the Great Millstone Nashville branch. Just wanted to touch on the topic of diffusing situations. All right, and what I mean by that is essentially being a peacemaker, being a diplomat. All right, so when you find yourself in a situation where tension is high, try to always resort to peace talk. All right. Well, first of all, of course, try to avoid such situations to begin with. But if you find yourself in a verbal altercation, try to diffuse the situation. Let's look up that word diffuse. Diffuse says, not that. Reduce the danger or tension in a difficult situation. All right. Similar words as reduce, lessen, diminish, relieve, ease, alleviate, mitigate, take the edge off, clear the air. All right. Is diffuse spelled like this? Slock it, but I believe it is defuse, D-E, dealing with, situations and, of course, explosives. Which, essentially, metaphorically speaking, an altercation, a conflict between, two people or a group of people can essentially be like an explosion, Actually, let me go ahead and get this. It's in the book of Sirach, also known as the book of mannerisms, all right, as we call it. In Sirach chapter 28 verse 12, it says, if thou blow the spark, it shall burn. If thou spit upon it, it shall be quenched, and both these come out of thy mouth. So what this is talking about is dealing with, like I said, an altercation. You find yourself in a situation where there's verbal disputes going on. You can either blow upon it or spit upon it. All right, and both these come from your mouth, which essentially what that's dealing with is, peace talks. Talking some, spitting on it is putting a fire out, right? Because fire needs oxygen to burn. If you're not giving it that oxygen and you're spitting on it instead, water's gonna quench it. All right. So if you're like, hey man, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I apologize. I'm sorry. I don't mean that. It diffuses the situation. But if you're like, fuck you, nigga. Oh yeah, it's your fault, man. I'll beat your ass. You're blowing upon it. You're gonna make it worse. All right, which, that's not the spirit of Yahweh Shai. All right, Yahweh Shai said to shake the dust off your feet. All right, Yahweh Shai was constantly, about avoiding conflict and altercation, because Ecclesiastes 3, this is not the time of that. All right, we're not in the time of, yes, we're in the time of war, but we're not in the time of war in the sense of we're picking up weapons and fighting people and, being in that fucking striker brawler spirit. We're not in the time of that, man. Now, of course, it should go without saying, if you got to defend yourself, you got to defend yourself. All right? But conduct yourself with wisdom. As Yahweh Shai was talking about, you got to be found blameless, man. Right? You got to walk with wisdom. Stop walking around doing willy-nilly. You're making the Lord look bad, man. You're making the body look bad. You're giving it a bad rep. All right? We're the true Christians, man. We need to be conducting ourselves as such. All right? Of course, that goes to myself first and foremost. Peaceable. Oh, come on, man. I know it's in Romans, if I'm not mistaken. If I can spell, we can probably find it. So, let's see. Goodness gracious. Here we go. Romans chapter 12. And I'll start at 17. It says, recompense to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men. It's important to understand also, I believe it's in Hebrews the 10th chapter, vengeance belongs unto the Lord. All right? Or no. I don't think that's Hebrews 10. Hebrews 10 and 31 talks about how it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. All right? But I believe it's either Hebrews or Romans, and it talks about how vengeance belongs unto the Lord. I think it is actually Hebrews 10, but the point is that Yahweh Shema Shai, deals with judgment. He's the one that performs acts of judgment. Right? So leave that to him. Don't take matters into your own hands, because you'll have situations where you'll be irrational, you'll be emotional. You'll go too far. You'll go too far. And then you'll have other moments where you'll be lacking mercy. Well, actually, that's the same thing. I'm bugging. You'll have times where you're lacking mercy and you're going too far, and then you'll have other situations where you might show too much lenience, and you might not be bringing down proper judgment. You might not have the proper anger, and disposition. All right. So ultimately, of course, we're being built up to be judges, but when it comes to situations, where you're angry and you want to put hands on somebody, whatever, just leave it up to Yahweh Shema Shai, man. All right, don't take matters into your own hands. As the scriptures say, Proverbs 3 and 5, it talks about trusting in the Lord with all thine heart. All right, lean not unto thine own understanding. Don't allow your emotions to cause you to stumble. All right, cause you to fall. We have to put off the weak nature, man. And of course, we were raised in a society that essentially teaches us to be hoe ass niggas. All right, we need to unlearn those type of activities, those type of aspects, those type of approaches to life. All right, and we need to make sure that we're abstaining from all appearance of evil. We need to make sure that we're like I said, living at peace with all men to the best of your ability. Now, of course, we know we hate 2/3. We hate heathens. All right, but it doesn't mean you need to be making that known. Okay, we need to be Clark Kent in this thing. We need to be, as Yahweh said, I believe in Matthew the 7th chapter, wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Okay, there's a certain vibration that Yahweh Shema Shai is pushing out in the body, and you need to make sure that you're on par with that. Okay, because if you see a mole and you decide, hey, I'm gonna put him to death, are you wicked? No. All right, but it's not the time and place for that. We're just rehearsing the righteous acts. On top of that, we got to follow the laws of the land, so long as they don't, contradict the ways of the Lord. You got to be wise out here, man. We're not in our land. We're not in our land. We're not in our kingdom. All right, we don't have our rules, regulations, and laws set up in place. All these things you need to be mindful of, and that's really the word of the century: mindful. Okay. We need to be aware of our surroundings, circumspect, which deals with paying attention to all sides. Are aware of everything. Okay? Not just physically aware of everything, but spiritually. You got to know what's going on in the news, all right, in the body. All right, don't allow these people to strip your crown, man. And the scriptures talk about don't let the sun go down on your anger. You got to, let go of these things. Don't grudge. All right? Scriptures say be angry and sin not. Of course you're going to be angry, but don't allow it to bring forth actions. All right, actions that's going to have consequences that's going to negatively affect your walk. All right. Make sure that you're not essentially allowing Satan to sift you. That's really what it is. Once you bring your emotions and you start doing, foolish things, it's really Satan sifting you like wheat. If you're not careful, you're going to get swept away with that. All right. You weren't called into this thing, to beat people up. All right, you were called into this thing to serve the Lord. All right, and part of serving the Lord is taking the load, being humble. All right, submitting yourself onto the will of Yahweh Shema Shai, especially during the time of persecution. You got to figure you're not going to be able to be carnal minded in that time. You got to take the load, just like Yahweh Shai did, man. You might find yourself in a situation where they come to get you, and you might just have to go with them, man. All right, and you might have to die the death of a martyr. All right, you got to know time and place. All right, once again, that Ecclesiastes 3 is a time and a place for everything. All right. So look to diffuse situations. Really just try to avoid altercations at all costs. But you will find yourself getting into things, and a lot of times it's not even your fault. All right, because you gotta understand, people like your call was saying earlier. The beloved brother Yakal, he was talking about how people in the world, we expect them to use wisdom when they have none. All right, so they're gonna do things that they shouldn't be doing. All right, you might bump shoulders with somebody on accident at Walmart. Now they're getting pissed off and they're trying to get carnal. Don't stoop to their level. Just like you hear people say back in the world. Don't stoop down to their level. All right, be the bigger man, as they say. And being the bigger man doesn't mean punching the hardest. What being the bigger man means is taking the low. All right, and like Apostle Gabar said, taking the low, don't make you a bitch. Because that's what people perceive that as. Oh yeah, he a hoe, he a bitch. Yeah, he ain't gonna fight me. He's scared. No, we're not scared. We're wise. Okay? What the hell do I look like, potentially forfeiting my chance at salvation, getting into a conflict with you, which is going to result in me going to jail? All right, or result in making the body. And that's another thing. Your actions don't just affect you. You're going to make the whole body look bad, the whole ministry look bad. Yeah, this man from Great Millstone, or you might not be in Great Millstone, you follow the doctrine. This man that was with the Hebrew Israelites, they're going to throw black in there. The black Hebrew Israelites, he got into an altercation, assaulted a man, and beat him, hospitalized. We don't need that, man. All right? We're not here for that. Conduct yourself accordingly. Okay? Be wise. Walk with season. Ultimately, just focus on the kingdom of heaven. Let like Yahushua said, let your eye be single. Okay? Focus on what really matters, because 2 Corinthians 4 and 17 and 18 tells us that all these things are going to pass away. Let these people have it. All right? So, Lord willing, that's what's edifying. I want to give all praise to Yahweh Shemel Shai. Double honor to the apostles, elders, great millstone. Shalom. How Ratazai was edifying. Just a quick lesson I want to throw up. Shalom.